We could all argue that Samsung has taken quite a similar approach to the build and design of most of their devices that were released this year. Just take a look at the S23 FE. It looks quite similar to the A54 that came out this year. Could as well be comparable to even the A24 and the A34 in certain aspects. In as much as these devices have a similar look, there are some little changes here and there that make them stand out individually. For instance, you might think because the design looks quite similar to the A54, you'd be able to slap a case from the A54 on the Galaxy S23 FE, but you won't be able to. And this is because the volume rocker button and the power button have been moved up a bit on the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE this time around, which is a distinctive feature to note if you're getting the S23 FE. I'm Delpy, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at the Galaxy S23 FE as I've been using it for quite a long period of time now. And so this is my review for the device. The key specifications of this device include a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display, obviously from Samsung, which has support for 120Hz refresh rate, which is adaptive. It toggles between 60 to 120Hz, and I'm pretty sure this is because the display or the panel on here is not an LTPO display. There's a support for HDR10+, 1453 nits of peak brightness, which means the device could get extremely bright when you're outdoors. 4500 mAh battery capacity with support for 25 watt fast charging. Now, personally, I have been using a 45 watt fast charger. I'm going to be telling you how that looks like with this device. At the rear side of the device, we have Gorilla Glass 5 protection, and this gives the device a glossy look and finish, which is prone to fingerprint smudges. So you'd want to walk around with a fiber cloth, or you could just get a case and slap it on it. One thing I noticed is anytime I pull this phone out in public, most of my friends assumed it was an iPhone for some reason. And I mean, despite the fact that I really want to send them to an eye clinic to get their eyes checked, they're probably right in a certain way. Now this is because the look of the device gives it that boxy feel we normally see on iOS devices. And I like the finish because the aluminum finish has this matte textured feel to it that makes it or gives it a very comfortable feel in the hand. The display on the device covers an 83.2% screen to body ratio, which means it has quite some obviously thick bezels. But these are bezels you might probably not notice if you use the device for longer periods of time. It has HDR10+ support, which means that you can stream content in HDR10+, which is very crisp, sharp, and much more detailed with colors when it comes to consuming content on here. The panel on here is a 1080p panel, but you're able to stream content in 4K on certain YouTube videos. I don't know how that works, but that's impressive. Another ideal feature on the display is how bright it can get. With a peak brightness of 450 nits of brightness, you are able to consume or get details on your device without having to struggle a lot when you're outdoors and the sun is a bit too bright. This is very impressive as it's much more on the mid-range side of things, but performing extremely well as a flagship device. When it comes to operating system, the device runs on One UI 5.1 based on Android 13. I must be honest, One UI is my favorite skin on any Android device ever, and I really love how intuitive and very beautiful it is. The Galaxy S23 FE is expected to receive the Android 14 update, as Samsung promises a 4-year major update on this device, which means you could use this device up to 2027 if you're somebody who cares about major updates. And you also get an additional year of security updates, so you know when it comes to updates, you're safe. Still on the topic of operating system and platform, this device comes in 2 storage variants, 128GB and 256GB. All of these are paired with 8 gigs of RAM, which helps with performance on the device. Personally, would advise that you use the 256GB variant, and that is because this device has support for 8K recording. And that is going to aid in occupying a lot of space if you're somebody who is looking at recording video in that resolution. But we'll get to that in a bit when we get to the camera section of this review. The variant I have here runs on the Exynos 2200 chipset. And I know Exynos has a lot of backlash when it comes to performance. Of course, there's the heating issue, thermal throttling issues, and more. But I haven't noticed that yet. Well, I did at the point, and that was when I was setting up the phone at first. I did realize that the part at which the chipset is embedded was heating up a little bit. And this is as a result of me moving things here and there, as in downloading apps, setting the phone up, making a mind generally. And I realized that out of stress, the chipset was struggling a little bit. But that didn't affect the phone's performance in any way. The phone still went through its normal activities, not lagging or crashing or even breaking at any point. And I really admire that. I've played games for longer hours with this chipset at higher graphic settings, and I've never noticed any lags or stutter. All I have noticed is the device heating up a little bit when I'm playing games on the device for longer periods of time. I really think I still have to explore more to get to identify most of the issues that come with Exynos, but so far, so good. Of course, with the 8GB RAM here, you could easily bump it up quantity of RAM plus to get much more than the 8GB of RAM, which is quite impressive. When it comes to cameras, there are 4 cameras, 1 selfie camera and 3 rear-facing cameras. With the selfie camera having a 10 megapixel selfie lens, it takes good photos in great lighting conditions like you're seeing. I've come to see that the selfies look much more detailed with great color on them. Also, it doesn't look too saturated. It's just very close to how the eye sees it in natural daylight. Selfies in portrait mode are great. What I've noticed is there's a bit of edge detection that worries it a little bit, and I'm pretty sure in subsequent updates Samsung might fix that. The downside though is that the selfie cameras don't shoot video of up to 8K 24 FPS like the rear cameras do. It's capped at 4K 60 FPS. Okay, so this is a selfie video from the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. I'm currently filming this video in 4K 60 FPS. Let me know how the audio output from the device sounds like, and also the image quality from the selfie camera. We could see how clear the skies are. No struggle with HDR. Just let me know down in the comment section. We'll talk more, Charlie. At the rear side, 3 cameras, 50 megapixel main camera sensor, a 12 megapixel telephoto lens, and an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens for ultra wide shots. The images are true to life. There's not much of a saturation problem here, as I've heard that Samsung normally saturates their pictures. Also, there's much more detail out of the 50 megapixel lens if you take pictures that are quite zoomed in. Now, it's not going to be as much as the Galaxy S23 Ultra would perform, and this is because, of course, this is a toned down version of what this would give you. So you want to make sure you consider that as well when making a purchasing decision in terms of camera quality for the Galaxy S23 FE. Another interesting thing is this device shoots 8K 24 FPS. So for those of you who are into 8K videos, you have that option now for you. I really love the camera output on this device, and for a device that is supposed to be in the mid-range category, it does extremely well and performs close to flagship. The other part about this device is the charging speed. And as stated earlier in my review, I made mention that I use a 45 watt fast charger for the device. So in close to 1 hour 15 minutes, I get a device used up from 0 to 100%. It's quite impressive. Now, even though this device is capped at 25 watts, I still believe that it has support for 45 watts fast charging in a way. It's definitely not charging at 25 watts at least. But hey, I'll try and get myself a 25 watt fast charger and make a comparison to see how this works. So make sure to subscribe for that. Now let's talk about the batteries on the device. 4,500 mAh battery capacity, and it's great. As somebody who came from the Galaxy S23 Ultra, I had so many huge expectations, expecting the device to perform the same as this would. And let's be honest, we all know how great the batteries on the S23 Ultra are. So coming down to expect that for this was quite a bad thing in my opinion. But honestly, the battery has held up pretty great. Not comparable to the S23 Ultra in any way, but it's better. For somebody who uses the device on an average use, you're going to enjoy using this device a lot. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Are you looking at getting a Galaxy S23 FE, or you'd consider something else? Let me know down in the comment section. And as always, we will talk more, Charlie.